good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Bahah in Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty sure it might be pronounced like Bahah, like that's a really hard guttural H. But I've heard it pronounced both ways, so I could be wrong. But anyway, Bahah is located on the Arabian Peninsula in the country of Saudi Arabia. As you can see, it is landlocked, even though the Red Sea coast is right here. So this region of the Red Sea coast is called the Tiamat. Tiamat is a really, really beautiful area, and a little bit of it is just here in Bahah. I think this area is considered Tiamat, but as I'll show you on Google Earth, this area and this area is strikingly different. So what's different about this area here in Bahah? Well, I'm sure you're thinking, oh, Saudi Arabia, especially this part, it must be super desert, it must be super dry, it's just camels and nomads as far as the eye can see. And I'm happy to tell you that that is not at all what this area looks like. The Hejaz Mountains slice right through this area and create the most beautiful landscape. This area is a big vacation spot for many Saudis because it is full of lush green forest and archaeological sites and beautiful waterfalls. It's so beautiful. I can't begin to tell you. And of course, you can see Mecca is just right there. So, and Asir too is a pretty, from what I can tell in my research, is a pretty bustling little area of Saudi Arabia. So Bahah is right here. I assume like it kind of reminds me of like Washington State, where there's lots of trees, lots of nature, and you really just kind of go there to explore the nature. It's kind of weird, the similarities end, though. The Ragadan Forest is just here outside the capital of Bahah. And I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to tell you. Oh, it's full of really cool, very old towns. When you go to, like, when I went to research this place, I went to a lot of Saudi websites, which was like, you gotta go to Bahah. It's full of beautiful sights to see and amazing history. So I'm like, great, I love amazing history just as much as I love beautiful sights. So I'm looking for this amazing history, and I don't find a lot. I mean, I'm finding stuff, but let me tell you what I found. There are many different tribes to this day living throughout Saudi Arabia. Two of them are very prominent in Bahah. There are many in this area, but two of them are prominent. They are the Sahran and the Kamit. And there are like lots and lots of very old towns and towers that I'm pretty sure predate these tribes, but these tribes definitely lived in those areas as well. And they also converted really quickly to Islam, like right after it was founded. I think even before Muhammad had to go to Medina, before he got kicked out of Mecca, I think the Kamid had converted before that. I'm pretty sure, if I'm right in my research. However, a lot of the history of these tribes happened down here in Asir. A lot of it. Not so much in Bahah. So I'm finding some cool facts about the people that live here, but all of their history pretty much happens down here or up here. Not a lot happening over here. But let me tell you what I have found, right? The Turks came through a conquering, they really wanted Mecca, the Islamic Empire and all of that. They wanted to control Mecca. So they came storming down here. and fought against the tribes in the area. And again, most of the good battles happened in Asir, but there was one just south here of Bahah, and the tribes won. They defeated the Turks. Apparently, there's still a Turkish graveyard in the area with all the soldiers who lost their lives in battle. And yeah, that's pretty much the only event I could find. Of course, until Abdulaziz ibn Saud came a conquering and would eventually form what was Saudi Arabia. But even though those were very big clashes, it was more like a unifying thing, not a conquering thing, you know. So that's pretty much what I have for history. And again, so many, many tourism websites are like, you gotta check out all of the history in this area. And I'm like, cool. I guess you have to go there to find out for yourself. But you know what's interesting is that Bahah has a huge summer festival in the city here. It's absolutely massive. And if I'm correct, I think it's going on right now as I'm filming this. I couldn't find dates for 2023. I just assume it's still on. But typically the dates are between June to September. Like, it's a big summer festival, which makes sense because summer is very hot in Saudi Arabia. And Bahah is full of beautiful trees and water and all of that. So it's a perfect place to come see the summer. It seems kind of like what in America we would call a fair, even like a big state fair where it's like music, games, carnival stuff, good food, all that kind of stuff. It looks like a lot of fun. So if you're in the area, go check it out. It's like the biggest party of the year, and it's most likely happening right now as I'm filming this. So why don't I pull out my tablet and show you, because you're like, goodness, a Smart Geographica, it can't be that beautiful. Oh boy, you're wrong. I can't wait to show you. Let me get this out. The very first picture in this slideshow I'm going to show you is a really beautiful historical village called Al Ain. Oops. There we go. I dropped it. It's considered like the top historical tourist site. And what's really cool is that you can go into all of these buildings and walk around. Of course, they're empty. Nobody lives there. But these are 400-year-old structures that still stand, and you can go hang out in them. Right now, it's a tentative UNESCO World Heritage Site. So if it gets approved, then the upkeep and all of that will be immense and fantastic. So hopefully that happens at some point. But look at this. Look at these mountains. Look at this farming village. Like, it is so gorgeous. There's the big city. Bahah is famous for its fog, which makes me miss my home of San Francisco. The fog rolls in through the mountains and creates a really beautiful scenery. Look at it against the old village here. Look at these. Like Bob Ross painted this, right? It's so beautiful. And I wasn't kidding when I said there's lots of cool waterfalls. There are so many. And they're so picturesque and beautiful. Look, this looks like the clock tower in Mecca in this roundabout. And yes, it does snow here. When I was researching, and I like to look at YouTube tourist videos so I can actually see what everything looks like on the inside. Most of the videos on YouTube right now are about this bizarre snowstorm that hit the area about 4 months ago. I'm filming this in 2023, so apparently a huge snowstorm hit the area, which you're like, snowstorm in Saudi Arabia? You better believe it does happen. Now the area is also full of these cool towers. You can see it looks like it's been knocked off the top there of this one. These towers dot the landscape, especially kind of in the northern, western parts of Bahah. And people aren't really sure why they were built. They remind me a lot of kind of the structures you'd see in Yemen, which isn't too far away. So it's quite possible that They were used for the same reason that they were in Yemen, which were like granaries, in that the animals were kept on the first floor, the people lived on the second floor, and all the storage for the grain was kept on the third floor or even the fourth floor. But it's also believed that these were watchtowers to keep an eye out on the landscape for any invaders, which both could be true. You know, it could be both of those, it could be neither of those. We don't really know, but there's a lot of them. Like, are you kidding me? This is in like Lord of the Rings, right? This is so beautiful. So you can imagine that many tourists, not just in Saudi Arabia, but around the world, like to come vacation here. Oh, pretty, beautiful flowers, beautiful trees. It is such a gorgeous place. Look at these mountains. So amazing. And like I said, 2 videos ago on my Iraq video, like if I showed you this and said this is Saudi Arabia, you would not believe me, right? If I showed you, where is it? This, and said this is in Saudi Arabia, you wouldn't believe me. But it is. Now let me show you what's so incredible about the landscape of this place and the Hijaz Mountains. I'm going to put this in 3D so you can see there's the city of Bahah. Now look at this. Boom. Look at these cliffs. You can see that like something happened here. Like millions of years ago, this land started to slide and create these gorgeous mountains and like these huge cliffs and valleys. I mean, look at that. Just a drop off right there. It's so neat. And it creates these incredible river valleys here in the mountains. Let me put it back in 2D for a second. What I meant by the Tiamat coast. So here's the Tiamat, right? And the borders of Bahah pretty much run along the mountains. So I'm pretty sure that part of this area is part of the Tiamat, technically, but you can see the stark landscape, right? The mountains meeting the sand, meeting the sea. That's what I mean. Look at just the spine of these mountains cutting through. It's so neat. Let me show you some beautiful things in this city. Because if you just saw my Kuwait City video and I said if you think this is beautiful, just wait. I'm going to show you some incredible parks here along this cliff edge. And this is the first one I found. Look how absolutely gorgeous this park is from above. And then you look at it and it's so beautiful. Like a Teletubby could live here happily, right? It is so gorgeous. The bridges and the water and the green grass. You can't get any more green than that. Little waterfalls and water shows. You can see the beautiful views of the mountains. This park has got so much fun stuff. Of course, places for the kids to play. Lots of shade for those hot days. And there's a train. You can ride the train driven by the world's angriest man. Wow, only here in Bahah can you have a train ride driven by the world's angriest man, the world's grumpiest dude. All the mist rolling in. And yeah, you can even drive on Rainbow Road if you're Mario. That's not what this is. This is actually one of those big slides. I'll show you in a second, but I want to show you this up here. A suspension bridge and even a zip line, which you would never, ever in a million billion years, look at this. I would never walk across that. I'd be sobbing. But here's Rainbow Road. You can see that it's up on this hill. You have to take a little, like, choo-choo right up to the top, and then you get to, like, it's one of those slides where you sit on the blankets and you whoosh down the hill. One of the best kinds of slides. But like, whoever built this is evil, and I don't like it. Oh my gosh. That drop though. Yeah, if I was on that, I'd be sobbing. I would be having a bad time. But the most famous park to show you is over here. It's the Rogdan Forest Park, because here's where you get the view of the beautiful forest. This is the place all the tourists come to. There's like camping and lots of hotels here. Lots of things to do and see in this beautiful park. Big sign to take your selfies at. And look at this structure. Like, this looks pre-Islamic to me. The high arch windows, the stonework. Really, really beautiful. I wonder what that is. And of course, there's tons of trees and beautiful nature to enjoy here as well. They have zip lines too, which again, I would be sobbing. I could never, especially over the mountains. You would never catch me doing that. I'd be having a nervous breakdown. So yeah, look how absolutely gorgeous this area is. So lush and green, with this huge drop right there, so you can see all of the mountains. It's so, so gorgeous. There's a viewpoint up here. I think you can see the whole city from up there. Rogdan Park. It's so gorgeous. And look at these roads going through the mountains. Oh, it's so incredible, right? So much to see. Let's head down the cliffs into the valleys here. I saw a tourist viewing point. Let's see what that looks like. Look how green these mountains are. Look at these big, tall roads up here. So mountainous, so lush, and so full of history. I can imagine there's so many historical sites to see in this area. So many old preserved places up in the mountains. How gorgeous. Again, if I told you this is Saudi Arabia, you would say absolutely not. But it is. I can attest to it. And yes, there are little baboons running around the mountain areas, being very cute. Watch out for the trash, guys. But look at it lit up at night like a little snake in the mountains. Look what they're scoring. So cute. But yeah, such a gorgeous place. I have been playing around this area on Google Earth and just finding all kinds of gorgeous, gorgeous places. And it's like, you know, how many do I show you? Let's see. Al-Jawas Garden. What is this? Another beautiful park up in the mountains. Lots of places for the littles to play. Which is, you know what? I think that's kind of good, because this is one of those vacation spots you come to look at the scenery and see the beautiful trees and mountains. And that's very boring for kids. So you need to keep them amused somehow, right? So little playgrounds and parks and things are very good to keep them happy. Oh my gosh, a museum. Let's see what's in here. Was I here before? I think so. Yeah, I was trying to find museums around here to try to find some history, like reverse image search some things, and or maybe find some things to Google. But nope. It seems just kind of like a little cultural museum. See how people used to live like that. Probably still live today. Up here you can see it's much more rocky and mountainous, right? But yeah, I think that's all that I have to show you. I highly encourage you to head over to Google Earth yourself and just explore this area, because there is so much to see. It is so, so beautiful. I could be here all day showing you cool sights and things, but I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this kind of content, please consider subscribing, as I'm going to every little corner of the world. Next, we're going to head to the other end of the peninsula, to Oman, which I'm very excited for because I love Oman. Like, if I had to make like a top 10 countries I want to visit, like Oman is at least like 4 or 5. Oman is incredible. So I'm excited to take you over there and explore the area. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a very good